What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Over on YouTube yesterday, we had two new members. We had Everly S and we had Byron Bronze. Thank you so much for your support. I really can't tell you how much it means to me. I just can't express it. Yeah. But thank you so much, and thank you to each and every one of you for coming here every day to support the channel, to get involved, to comment, to let me know what you're doing with your day. There were so many comments yesterday telling me about what you're doing. Some people cooking, some people going out for a walk, some people just chilling trying to get to sleep. I absolutely love it, so thank you. And with that being said, let's get on with today's stories. Much love, guys. And just a trigger warning on the first story, it involves losing a young 15-year-old to cancer. So just to give you that warning there. Our first story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for yelling at my wife for taking my necklace that has my son's ashes? I lost my son to cancer at the age of 15. He was such a sweet soul. He was vibrant, loved sports and farming a lot. I still take care of his plants in the backyard, as he used to spend his time planting different types of flowers and such. His mother wasn't around and I took on raising him by myself. It was hard balancing work and taking care of his health, education and treatment. I lost him in 2017, the worst year in my entire life. Every day I was wishing he was here, despite seeing him suffer greatly a few months before he passed away. I made myself a necklace containing some of his ashes to keep him close to me, and it was the best decision I made in a while. I wear it often, and although I'd sometimes get weird comments from people disagreeing with it, but I'd just ignore them. I've been married to my wife for 2 months now. Everything has been going well, except when she started pointing out that I keep wearing my necklace all the time. We'd both get into an argument whenever we'd go and visit her family or go out with friends because she'd ask me to take it off and leave it at home. I never understood why she'd ask me that, and she'd tell me just to do it. I ended up not going because I simply refused to take it off. I thought that was disrespectful in my opinion. This week she brought it up again. I told her to drop it because she was clearly paying attention to what people think. She thinks people might think it's strange, but that's not my problem. I'm comfortable this way. I told her I'd happily stop attending family functions and hanging out with her judging friends if she felt weirded out by me wearing my necklace, and it's not like it's always visible. I tend to keep it hidden under my top, so I'm not sure what her actual concern is. Yesterday, after she convinced me to attend her best friend's wedding, I decided to go and I started looking for my necklace after I got out of the shower, but I couldn't find it. I freaked out and started looking for it. She kept saying we're going to be late and that we'd look for it together after we got home, but I kept looking. Eventually she asked me if I was going to wear it at the wedding and I said yes, and she took it out of the closet and handed it over to me. I yelled at her for touching it in the first place, and I got even angrier when she decided to call and apologise to her friend for not coming at all, because I wanted to wear the necklace at the wedding. I argued with her and I told her she was being childish and inconsiderate to be treating my son's memory as something awkward just because her family and friends think so. She got upset with me and refused to talk, but instead kept crying, saying I'm being harsh with her, but I found this so upsetting and unacceptable. She was perfectly okay with it before, so I don't know what changed now. I just want to answer some of you are asking. It's a stainless steel angel-shaped pendant. Now first you got to say I'm so sorry that I can't imagine what you're going through right now, and to have something like that that's so close to you, it must mean the absolute world to you. And as we all know, when we talk about this sort of these situations all the time, we know people deal with grief in different ways. And as long as the person isn't displaying unhealthy behaviour, what is the issue with having wanting ashes in a pendant? It's a totally normal thing to do. I mean, it's no different from keeping ashes in an urn in your house. There is no difference apart from you want to keep that close to you, which is totally valid. So you're definitely not the arsehole in the situation, and your wife has got some serious issues if she's getting embarrassed over this. She needs to be by your side and sticking with you, in my opinion. She's downplaying OP's feelings for the sake of her own family because they think it's weird, and she needs to be sat down and told this, and if she doesn't accept it, well, you know, it's her own loss in the end, in my opinion. But let's have a look at some of the comments below to see what they say. Daydranker says, not the arsehole, I'd be filing for divorce if I were in your shoes. I'm so sorry for the loss of your son. Fuck cancer. Sonorous Black says, not the arsehole, this is not going to get better. Your wife rejects your expression grief and love for your son and is trying to strip it off you. And quotes, I've been married to my wife for 2 months now, and quotes again, I don't know what changed now. Then says, what changed is that your wife thinks she crossed the finish line and doesn't have to pretend she respects you anymore. A madman with a pan says, info, what does the necklace actually look like? It seems odd that she would refuse to go out with you based on something most people won't see. Unless there's something visually embarrassing about the necklace. Edit, absolutely not the arsehole. After OP added the dimensions to the post, there's no excuse for your wife's actions, and I'm sorry for your loss. And again, I don't think it really matters what it looks like. I mean, he's keeping it under his top and it's just something that's really close to him. If one of my relatives or something had a pendant, even a big Flavor Flav clock on them, if that was something that meant so much to them, then, you know, I would respect that. And yeah, I'm rambling on again. Then username or whatever says, not the arsehole. If your wife actually loved your son, she'd understand it's important to you. It's your child. If that upsets her or her friends, screw them. That's their problem. It sounds like she cares more about what they think than how you feel. An SC photo says, why are you married to this woman? Marriage is about accepting your partner, current, future and past. If she can't respect your past in this present, how do you expect her to respect you in the future? Not the arsehole. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What would you do if you was in that situation? If you had something that meant so much to you and your partner was disrespecting it and didn't want you to wear it? How would you deal with that? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Small Slice Skin. Am I the arsehole for leaving my husband in the grocery store because he started acting like a toddler? We all go through phases and pick up annoying habits, and sometimes we just need our loved ones to gently tell us if we picked up a particular egregious habit. Sometime in the last year, my husband has picked up a habit where he talks like a baby. At first it was funny, but passed into embarrassing, cringeworthy behaviour quickly. Examples: doggo, puppa, woofer, subwoofer, pibble, hootie boy, peepo, burb, meow meow, Sammy, sandwiches, Sammy whammy, chicky nuggies, chicky tendies, adding to a toddler-esque lip to words, the ones that really got a gross and childish euphemisms for genitalia or sex. I cannot emphasize this enough. It's not endearing or sexy to have my husband talk about my boobies and his wiener and weenie and wee-wee, hoo-has, and bajingos. Nostalgia for scrubs be damned. We have not had sex for 6 months because he cannot stop talking about my boobies and it makes me sick. Just before the pandemic hit, we were out at a restaurant with some friends. He actually ordered a Chicky Sammy, like said that exact phrase, Chicky Sammy. Look, it's fine that he ordered a chicken sandwich, that's not the issue. Our friends noticed the baby talk because he insisted on continuing the joke. And even starting talking with this god-awful toddler lilt accent. After that, I just couldn't stomach the idea of going out with him to adult places. I'd go out to the brewery with friends, but God forbid he'd join me and say, me want another beer, or something. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why he's doing this. I finally hit my limit when we were grocery shopping and everything seemed normal and fine until he gasped like a kid, ran down the ice cream section and jumped up and down yelling, ice cream, I want chocolate. Fuck's sake. I was mortified. People were just staring at him and me. He kept going and kept saying, can we get popsicles? And I just said, either talk to me like an adult or I'm leaving. He started saying, ooh, you must be fun at parties, and lighten up will you, and shit like that. I just said fuck it and left the store, leaving him walking home, like a mile. It was fine, because I couldn't even look at him. Since then, things have been very tense, and he keeps telling me that he wants an apology for embarrassing him by leaving him at the store. I told him that people don't get to demand apologies. If someone wants to apologise, it's up to them, and I am absolutely not going to apologise for saving myself the embarrassment of a 35-year-old man with a mortgage and retirement account asking for chocolate ice cream. He got his fucking mum involved, no joke. She keeps telling me it's just a phase and that he's probably bored and I should be happy that this is his midlife crisis, rather than him fucking 19-year-olds at the local bar. Am I going crazy? Am I the arsehole? Do I really just need to let my husband continuously embarrass me like this? Edit, sorry, there was only so much space. I have talked to him multiple times, especially about the sexual comments. I've made it extremely abundantly clear that him using terms like boobies and wee-wee are absolutely repulsive to me, among other things he says. Info, does he have a job? Yes, and he acts completely normal as far as I know. He worked from home for a while during lockdown, and I've never heard him talk like this to anyone he's worked with. Does he do it with friends? Sometimes, and it's generally meant to annoy them or gross them out, but he stops. He has friends where they think it's cute to embarrass each other. Is this a kink/fetish? If so, I'm absolutely done. Has he seen a doctor? No, but I've asked him if he needed to talk to someone because he was acting strange and he accused me of being stuck up and judgmental. Given that he doesn't act like this with his co-workers or family and only jokes around with his friends, I'm willing to bet this is an indication that he's trying to force this fetish on me non-consensually, or trying to get me to leave. Is it a tumour? I don't know. Like I said above, I asked him if he needed to see someone. I can't force him, even if I wanted to, just find out if there's any way we can salvage this, but after this post closes, I will try to get him to. Maybe his sister can encourage him, even though he acts completely normal around them. Does he have childhood trauma? As far as I know, and I'm relatively close to his family, would likely know, the most traumatic thing that happened was a minor car accident when he was around 13 years old. No injuries, no death, etc. He hasn't been in a car accident in the past 2 years or anything like that, and I haven't, and as far as I know, no one else in the family has been, etc. When I was reading this at first, I thought the first bit where it says examples, doggo, puppa, woofer, and all that sort of stuff, and I thought, shit, I say some of that. Like the doggo and things. And I think it's just some of it's part of internet culture, but some of it I just can't bring myself to say, like chicky nuggies and stuff like that, and putting lisps on it, and does make me cringe a bit. But then as I was reading it further and further, I was thinking, yeah, this could be a fetish that he's trying to get her into slowly, sort of thing. Not kink shaming or anything like that, you know. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But you know, there was just going in my head that, yeah, maybe that's what he's trying to do here. But I think, you know, if you're totally fed up with this, you just need to lay it on the line and say, look, if this shit don't stop, I'm out. As simple as, really. I think that's the only way around it. Otherwise, it will just continue. Maybe approach the things that you were suggested first of all, and maybe something has gone wrong, maybe some sort of chemical imbalance, something like that. I don't know. But, you know, I think you do have to lay it on the line eventually if it continues. Let's have a look at the comments to see what they say. Bfub says, not the arsehole, I'd sit down and have a serious heart-to-heart. I did not marry a toddler, I married an adult to build a life with. I've told you repeatedly this is not a joke, I find it annoying, and whatever other adjectives you'd like. And it has caused me to lose all sexual attraction to you, and not having sex for 6 months is a problem. And instead of modifying your behaviour and trying to respect my feelings, you bring in your mother to our relationship to justify your actions. If you are truly a little boy who wants his mummy, you can pack up your stuff and live with her. If you're interested in saving this marriage, you will not only go to a regular doctor for a checkup to make sure there isn't some underlying medical condition for this change in behaviour, you will start marriage counselling with me immediately. So if this behaviour is a response to some subconsciousness need you are not having met, we can figure it out together. These are your options: fight for our marriage as an adult, or be a child that's not old enough for any sort of meaningful relationship and go and live with your mother. Captain No Leg says, encourage him to go see a doctor. With a sudden change in this behaviour, continue and talk to him about it, and 6 months without sex, he still hasn't admitted there's a problem. He needs checked out. There might be something seriously medically going on. Fuck you, Galen says, not the arsehole, but he got his mummy involved. So tell her she is welcome to take her toddler shopping while he screams for, ice cream, ice cream. Oh god. Not to bring him back till she has raised him back to adulthood. Edit. Also, I suggest that a doctor's visit may be appropriate if this is in any way non-voluntary, because it may be linked to some kind of cognitive issue. Now, what would you do if your partner started acting this way? How would you deal with it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Responsible Fudge. Am I the arsehole for hiding from my wife the reason why our son got kicked out of a restaurant? Our son told me the truth but did not tell her because he was afraid of his mum's reaction. Ordinarily, I would have told my wife, but the situation ultimately was a misunderstanding and something I was able to quickly resolve with the restaurant owner. He and his friends had gone out to eat at this place, and apparently my son decided to make a joke and hit on their waitress. Others said things too, but his was the one that upset her and resulted in her telling the owner. It wasn't a bad joke or what I'd consider sexist, but it was in poor taste. When she told the owner, he got upset and asked the boys to leave. They were all embarrassed and told us that they left because they weren't feeling well instead of the real reason. At least at first. My son told me what really happened, and one of his friends ended up also telling his mum the truth after she questioned his story. By the time he confessed, I'd already talked with my son and the owner of the restaurant and worked things out. My son and the rest of the boys aren't banned from the restaurant and everything is fine now. I saw no need to involve my wife in this because she had escalated this when our son was already embarrassed and had learned his lesson. There wasn't anything else to say or do. My wife disagrees and thinks I'm an arsehole for hiding the truth from her and for enabling our son's sexism, as she puts it. She doesn't think I've actually done anything except teach him that he can say and do what he wants without consequences. This is because I didn't punish him and convinced the restaurant owner to look the other way. In this case, I didn't feel more was needed to be said or done because what he said wasn't that bad and he seemed sorry. Now that the other parents know what happened, everyone is split. Most of the dads agree with me and have similar views, while mums are taking the same view as my wife. So am I the arsehole? Edit, since some of you are asking for the joke, the waitress they had was Indian, so my son said they had no longer felt like he was in the mood for an Italian and wanted that instead. He then asked her if she could help him with that. Well, I think you are going to be the arsehole because his comment was that bad, and a lot worse. It was both misogynistic and racist at the same time. And your wife is right. You've let him get away with it. You've let him just walk away from this, without anywhere in the world. And he's not banned from the restaurant. He should definitely be banned from the restaurant for that behavior. He shouldn't be able to go into any restaurants at the moment until he learns his lesson properly. And who are you to say it's not that bad? That girl felt violated and she had every right to do so. Poor woman was just trying to do her job and she has to deal with that shit. Freaking hell, man. Yes, you're the arsehole, but let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Kindle fan says, you're raising the guy that none of us want to date. If they were asked to leave, then I promise you it wasn't not that bad. Great, yet another contribution of a guy that has no respect for women and sees us only as sex objects. You're the arsehole. 9 for 9 says, so your son went out and harassed some waitress at her job to the point that the manager banned him and his friends from the restaurant. When you find out your response is to talk to the owner and convince them that your son should be allowed back into the restaurant, making everything fine now. You didn't mention apology to the waitress. You leave out your son's joke, which given that it was bad enough to get him banned, probably was extremely sexist, disrespectful and gross, and then you hid it from your wife. You don't think it was sexist, but all women in your life agree it is. The waitress they harassed think it too, so you're compounding your son's sexism by covering it up and dismissing your wife's feelings. You're the arsehole, 100%. Edits, I see OP added the joke and all I can say is wow, I knew it would be bad, but that's just gross and sexist and racist and I feel so bad for the poor waitress. That shit is embarrassing and humiliating, not to mention scary because you never know if the harassment will escalate. Pro tip OP, raising children doesn't mean we protect them from the very much deserved consequences of their actions. Sometimes they need to learn the hard way. You're teaching your son to be a sexist creep. Listen to your wife. FMe420 says, you're the arsehole dude, your child sexually harassed a woman trying to do her job. It was never just a harmless joke and lesson learned. Aside, he should not be allowed back into a space where he went out of his way to make someone that uncomfortable for a laugh. Frankly, your son's behaviour is gross and it's just as sexist to keep things from your wife because she would have rightfully called both of you out on your BS. Not to mention the owner is trash too. Like he really just said, lol, keeping employees safe, what's that? And of course the other men agree with you. You'll never been of the opposite end of being sexually harassed by customers, let alone teenage boys. But you're probably the ones hitting on waitresses and making them uncomfortable in the first place. How else would your kids pick that shit up? Now I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of the situation? How would you deal with it if you was OP now? How would you deal with it if you was the wife too? Let us know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from Odin Shear. Am I the arsehole for not letting people stay at my house after they travelled over 10 hours to stay here? I have a very well paying job, which requires me to mostly work from home with the occasional travel, usually once a month for a few days, to certain locations. As a result, I could choose to live wherever I want and chose a lovely big home next to the lake with a ton of nature surrounding it. I'm not even kidding, sometimes I have to pinch myself when I just woke up because I feel so blessed I got to live here. Now I'm from a big city, which is where most of my old friends and family still live, and as a result, on a monthly basis I get at least one person asking me if they can come see me, which is a different way of saying they need a vacation and want to stay with me. I'll be short, mostly my answer is a simple no, especially if I need to travel during their stay, as I don't trust anyone but my dad and girlfriend to be alone at my house. However, on occasion I say yes, especially if I want to see someone. So my college friend Brian contacted me asking if he and a buddy could have a vacation at my place for a week, and they really needed a break, and he wanted to hang out like the old days. I agreed. I haven't seen Brian in ages, but still actively talk to him, so why not? And before some of you start about COVID, you can have people over here and there hasn't been an outbreak here or in the city they live in for months. So we all agree when he will arrive and bring another of his college buddies. Well, the day comes, I prepare the guest rooms and an hour before they are supposed to arrive, Brian messages me that something came up and he can't come. I figure, okay then, but I get a message a few minutes later that he got another one of his buddies to take his place. I told him I'm not comfortable letting two strangers stay and didn't get a reply. At any rate, roughly an hour and a half later my doorbell rings and two dudes stand there with their luggage. I say hi and ask them what they want and they say they are staying here. I say they ain't and tell them to bugger off. They ask me if they can at least stay the night. I say no. Brian calls me later, going out of his mind with anger, claiming I'm a giant arsehole and that his friends had to drive for hours only to drive back home when they told me they would be coming. I told him to go fuck himself. His friends probably at least, I assume, knew nothing about this, so I feel terrible for them. It feels to me like Brian set this up from the very beginning. For some reason, he wanted his friends to get away or something like that. Maybe he's getting paid even. And then he's going to use your place as like an Airbnb. Imagine these two just rocking up with their suitcases. Yeah, we're here to stay. How, even as the friends, I'd feel very weird going to stay at a random person's place who I don't know, knowing the original friend isn't going to be there too. And it sounds like that they must have even left before that guy cancelled his plans originally. So this must have been the plan all along, right? Oh, Brian, what an idiot. Oof. Let's have a look at some of the comments to see what they say. DH says, not the arsehole. What the fuck is wrong with Brian? Babanda says, not the arsehole. This isn't an Airbnb reservation. You thought your friend was coming to stay and he sent a couple of randos in his place. He clearly gave them the go ahead before talking with you. Sorry, bud. This isn't a rental. Jog on. Royally Oki says, not the arsehole. Letting the friend stay there is not a blank invitation for anyone. Let me know if you change your mind about strangers, as I could use some nature. Your humble overlord says, not the arsehole. Brian knew well before they got there. Plans had changed, and he didn't run it by you. They didn't get a free lodging with an hour's notice. I'd be peeved. Insert my name here says, no, you're not the arsehole. Who in the heck lets strangers stay in their house? That would be beyond stupid, and your friend is an arsehole for even thinking that was okay, then getting mad that it wasn't. But they should have prepared for the worst and got a hotel before travelling back. The world needs kind says, not the arsehole. I don't want strangers in my house either. And Lizzie says, not the arsehole. Your friend is being a presumptuous arsehole and should be to blame for inconveniencing his friends. You're not running a freaking hotel or Airbnb. Now, what do you guys think of this story? What do you think of Brian? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today, and I hope you are enjoying the videos so far. Hope you're enjoying the new music too. I did receive some feedback about, it's still making some people anxious as well, and that they might be just getting used to it. So we'll continue with the new music for a bit, and I'll try and find some different tracks too that might complement the stories a bit better as well. A bit more uplift in some places, as long with the down music that goes with the stories. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.